So I just wanted to make this video to share a little bit with you about anger integration in the moment that it's happening. And so I'm just trying to keep a portion of my attention with the activation I just experienced, while also kind of talking to you. Yeah, so I just experienced a trigger which activated a lot of nervous anxiety, which some people might describe as fear, but I make a distinction, and maybe I'll get to that. And as soon as I became aware that there was a charge and a kind of nervousness in my system, I was able to tune into what it was actually about, because I understand the difference between fear and anxiety, and I understand what anxiety indicates. And in this case, it was showing me that there was actually anger beneath it, and that's what the anxiety was about. And so I'm still experiencing that charge, and I wanted to kind of share in real time with you how I am when that happens. And so as I become aware of the anger beneath that anxiety, I notice a lot of energy, a lot of charge, like energy pushing out, moving out from the periphery to the core and kind of like pushing. It felt a little bit more intense when it first started than it feels now. And oftentimes it's too intense for people to be with, and we have all kinds of strategies in place to make sure that we don't have to be with it because it feels too threatening. And that's something that we really need to honor and respect. But in my process, I've got to the point where I can really be with the anger without doing it, trying to do anything to or with it. And I know what it's about essentially. There's a core theme in my life. Although at the moment there's not actually any content, it's just the pure energy of anger that I'm being with. And it feels very enlivening, expansive. And yet at the same time there's like a heat and an inflammation to it, which can easily kind of distort into violence, into wanting to lash out, which is what we normally think of when we think of anger, is the behavior of anger. But actually, if you can just be with the pure energy, that heat, it's not inherently violent in and of itself as an energy. It's very powerful. And so I find that these core emotions like anger tend to come in waves. And so the intensity has subsided, and actually I'm experiencing some heart connection As I connect to that core emotion, I naturally connect more to my heart. And I'm tuning into, what is the core intention and communication of this anger? Anger gets repressed and split off when it felt too threatening to feel, and it wasn't a safe environment, a safe holding environment for anger to be felt or expressed in. And yet, at the heart of anger is this healthy protest, and that's what I'm tuning into right now. That's really what lies at the heart of integrating anger, is allowing it to express its core intention, which is that healthy protest. Allowing it to express that energetically. It's not so much about necessarily expressing it to another person when you're in the middle of integrating it. It's more about allowing it to express it to you, or to whoever is, sharing the expression of it with whoever might be holding space for you. Because generally speaking, I find that it's very helpful to have a witness, to have someone to support regulation and hold the space for and with you, especially when getting in touch with these really intense core emotions. And so I'm very familiar with, anger's core communication for me, and it's all variations on a theme for everyone. But for me, it often is expressed as a no, and like a pushing out, like a boundary being created, a very forceful no. I'm really feeling that and allowing that no. And I understand how important that no is, how necessary that no is. And the more that I can allow that no in my own system as it arises, as that intense heat, the easier it is to say no in life. And the easier actually is to say no without any charge. Because I'm processing the charge here and now. The charge is there because there was a time when it wasn't okay to say no, it wasn't allowed. And that's what the fear is about, that's what the anxiety is about. And so the reason I knew that I wasn't experiencing fear is because fear is what arises physiologically when there is a direct perception of mortal threat. And that wasn't what was happening for me. I knew my survival wasn't being threatened in any way. And so that's the distinction I would make between fear and anxiety. Anxiety is a threat to the psychological self, and it always indicates a deeper emotion beneath that doesn't feel safe to feel. And so many of us experience this anxiety in relation to anger. But anger is not really something that is allowed in our culture, and then the perception that there's something wrong with anger obviously gets reinforced and validated every time it gets suppressed and then comes out sideways as violence. But what's being allowed here in this process is not the behavior of anger. I'm not acting anger out. I'm not lashing out. I'm just being with the pure, direct experience and energy of anger and its core communication, so that it can be integrated and so that I can have healthy boundaries and a capacity to set limits and say no, and change my circumstances if necessary, if my core basic needs, physical and emotional needs, are not being met or honoured by my environment or the people in my life. And so I have a lot of experience processing, have a high capacity for being able to kind of have a meta awareness happening while processing, so I can speak to you about what's happening while the process is unfolding. But I don't necessarily expect you to be able to do the same. It just takes practice, that's all. And so it feels like a good layer of anger just got integrated. I'm feeling more kind of like bubbly, effervescent, life, connective, warm energy in my core. I'm feeling my heart even more. And I'm aware that, this isn't done. It's just one layer of the onion. But I trust that every layer makes a difference, because I've been practicing this for many years, and I just notice the progress over time. And in my case, it feels like it's been very slow and gradual, but I am very grateful nonetheless. Okay, so feels like now would be a good time to close. Thank you so much for watching until now. I'm going to be going into this more and kind of explaining emotional integration in a more kind of complete way in my upcoming retreat, which is from the 29th of April to May 1st. You can join live or by replay, very reasonably priced, and I will share the link somewhere close to this video and you can check that out. But if you can't make that for some reason, just stay tuned, because I have a lot more to share on this topic. Take care. Bye.